Yo, what's going on YouTube land? It's morning time. As you can see, I got my tea here. I'm just going through some old videos, thinking about some stuff I might want to post. And I had made this video of how I process tomato seeds, and I think I put a lot of good information into it, but I did it kind of late at night and I was kind of tired and low energy, and so I just wanted to film an intro where I give some more overarching summaries of what I'm doing while I'm feeling a little bit more energetic. So this is all about saving tomatoes. And I did it all with cherry tomatoes, but this applies to any type of tomato and actually to a lot of wet seeded crops. And saving seeds is just so much fun. And there's just so much abundance. So like all of those seeds came from just a handful of tomatoes. And they came from just a few plants, a few seeds. Think about how many tomatoes grow on one tomato plant. You know what I mean? You get a pack of tomato seeds, you could grow a ton of tomato plants. You could produce hundreds, if not thousands of tomato seeds. I mean, it's crazy, the abundance, and it's also it's such a fun process. So what you're about to see is how I save seeds. You can see I have more going here. I have some labeled jars there are seeds in here. I don't know if you can see from the angle that I was at. There are seeds in there fermenting. And actually, I think I have more. Yeah, I have some down in the fridge down here. So yeah, a lot of stuff going on with tomato seeds right now. It's, late season. It's September for me. I think I filmed the earlier part of this video, or the later part of this video earlier in the season, probably like late August. Anyway, you'll see how I go from tomato like that into jars like this, into seeds like that. And the last part of the video is me showing you how to just like spread them out on a tray to dry them out. And before I package them up, I do like to come in here and kind of just rub them. And that breaks them apart. They're all kind of like stuck together, which is not really a problem, but it's easier to get them out of a seed packet if they're kind of broken up and not clumped together. They do tend to want to jump out of your fingers when you do this, so kind of be somewhat careful that you don't contaminate other jars or other trays of seed. But anyway, yeah, so that's what this video is all about, and thanks for tuning in. All right, so getting towards the end of summer here, and I'm doing a lot of processing of tomato seeds. For me, it's mostly cherry tomatoes. That's what I like to eat the most, so that's what I save seeds from. But this process would work on any type of tomato and most other wet seeded crops. But anyway, I'm just going to take you along and show you what I do. So you're going to take a tomato. Now you can do this with a ripe tomato. You can do this with an overripe tomato. Like if you get tomatoes that split, they go bad, they go rotten, you can use them too. What you're going to do is get some sort of container. I like to use jars, but you can use anything. And you want to squeeze out the seeds. I have some seeds already in here, as you can see. I think it helps. If you poke a hole in the tomato, because otherwise the seeds tend to want to squeeze out all over the place if there's no hole. And you just start squeezing on the sucker, but put the hole in it, squeeze them out. And since this tomato was not rotten, I'm going to eat what's left of it once I'm done squeezing out the seeds. Okay, then we need water. Preferably either rainwater or spring water. This is from my well. You can also buy spring water at the store, but any water will work. You can use tap water if you have to, but since this is a fermentation process of these seeds, it does involve microorganisms, and the chlorine in the tap water and the chloramine in the tap water can slow that process down. So avoid tap water if you can. Don't be too worried about it. Use whatever you got. There's no right or wrong way to do this. There's also no exact amount of water. I just pour in, I don't know, about that amount or so. Give it a little swirl around. Now we're going to let this sit for somewhere between 2 and 4 days. I think that's kind of the standard recommendation, is that no less than 2 days, probably no more than 4 days. They say after 4 days, it's kind of like too long or whatever. I guess the thought there is that after 4 days, potentially it's fermenting too much and you could damage the seeds. I've never tested that. You could probably go longer. I have no idea. But what you can do is, say it's been going for 4 days and you don't have time to deal with it yet, you can stick it in the fridge. That'll slow it down. Then you can leave it in there for a while, just if you don't have time. So anywhere room temperature. You could probably even leave this outside if it's in the shade, not in direct sunlight, but I just keep these in my kitchen typically. And I like to do a paper towel on the lid with a rubber band that keeps like insects and stuff from getting into it. So this is one that I did, gosh, I probably did this a week ago. After about 4 days, I put it in the fridge, and you can see there's a lot more seeds in here. You can kind of see what that looks like. So I'll show you the next step. You're gonna sometimes see some of this stuff growing on the top. If you swirl your jar around every day, you'll kind of prevent that from happening. That can be a little bit smelly sometimes, but it's not a problem. All right, so once they're done fermenting, you want to put on the lid tight, and you want to really shake this thing up really good, okay? Get it nice and aggregated with the lid on tight, otherwise you're going to get juice all over you, okay? Then you're going to give it a second to settle out. You're going to see all the seeds settle out to the bottom, and we're going to pour off the water, okay? Now you can do this over the sink. I'm doing it over a bowl, doesn't really matter. See a lot of junk coming out. You want to pour nice and slowly. You want to watch for seeds. You don't want to let all the seeds pour out, but if you go slow, you just get all the junk. You might lose a few seeds, but you shouldn't lose that many. See all the seeds in there? See how I'm slowing down as the seeds are getting close? Okay. Now, this next part is difficult to film with it's difficult to do it and film it with just 2 hands. I need like extra arms or something. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pour a bunch of water in there. And this time I'm not gonna give it as much time to settle. And then I'm gonna do the same action of pouring off the water. Now I don't wanna give it as much time to settle because now everything that's left in there is kind of less dense, and we want all of the remaining non-seed material to be floating when we pour the water off. We don't want it all to sink to the bottom with the seeds, okay? So I don't know how I'm gonna film this, but you can see the seeds are a lot cleaner now. So we're just gonna do that, I don't know, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7 times, however many times feels appropriate till the seed are as clean as you want. And that's pretty much it. Then you're just gonna, well, I'll show you how I dump them through a strainer after that, but that's basically it. I like to use a strainer like this that's gotta be small enough to catch the seeds. And again, this is kind of a quick process. You're gonna dump the water real quick, or you know how to dump the water quick, but you're gonna dump the water in on the seeds, and then you're gonna dump the jar through the strainer quick before all this. You want the seeds to be floating when you do this. If they all sink, some of them will get stuck to the bottom of the jar. So, like that. They're all still floating. Go like that. Look at that. None of them in the jar. It's okay if you know, sometimes it takes a couple tries. And now all you have to do, you can kind of take this, kind of dab it, you know, on a paper towel to wick some of that moisture out. I know that's not a paper towel, it's a rag, whatever, you get the point. And now you're just gonna spread these out on a plate or a tray somewhere. Let them dry. You wanna get them all flat, you know. This might sound crazy, but to get them all flat, to help them dry out, I like to just, you know, tap them with the bottom of a pen. Something flat that they're not gonna stick to. You can really use anything for this. You can use your finger, but they kind of stick to your finger from what I've found. So yeah, just spread them out, let them dry for a few days, package them up. Don't forget to have labels for this whole process. If you're doing more than one type of seed, it's very easy to get them confused. Have labels, you know, label the jar, label them when they're drying, label them in the packet. But yeah, that's how I process tomato seeds. I didn't come up with this, obviously. This is how I've been taught to do it, but yeah.